Tell me if this is you. You spend all day at work and all you want to do is go home and play some PlayStation. So you drive home, you cook some dinner, and you get ready to settle down, walk into the living room, and nope, the kids are using the TV. Or perhaps you then do the kids' bedtime, tuck them all in, come downstairs, and oh, the wife's watching Married at First Sight Australia.
If you swear at me and scream at me like that.
Well, if you can resonate with any of that, then let me tell you, the PlayStation Portal has become my new favourite gadget. So what is it? Well, the PlayStation Portal is a PlayStation remote play device that lets you feel the power of the PlayStation in the palm of your hand. With its 8-inch LCD screen capable of 60 FPS at a 1080p resolution and a roughly 5-hour battery life, it allows you the ability to play anywhere. Come along as we test the PlayStation Portal in real-world situations and we find the answer to the ultimate question, which is the PlayStation Portal really worth it? Before we carry on, just to say that 99% of you who watch my content are not subscribed, so if you could fix that, that'd be great. Thanks. So to set the scene, let's actually cover what the PlayStation Portal is. Essentially a PlayStation DualShock controller that they've cut in half, pulled apart and put an 8-inch LCD screen in the middle. It allows you to play your PS5 remotely over Wi-Fi, allowing you to use it anywhere around the house or on the go if you have an internet connection. It streams your video output to the device. And the device feels great in the hand. Although the screen is an LCD and not an OLED, it gets plenty bright enough and is plenty responsive enough that when it's only this far away from your face, you don't really notice. And it is super comfortable because it actually uses a DualShock controller, although the thumbsticks are slightly smaller than normal. It feels comfortable on longer gaming sessions, which is not something that I can say for the Nintendo Switch, which I actually have to use a proper big grip when I play the Switch because my hands are too big for the device and I end up cramping up. I've had none of that when using the PlayStation Portal. The user interface is very PlayStation-y, it's really intuitive and easy to use. The setup was extremely quick. You just turn it on, register the device to Wi-Fi and then connect it with your PlayStation account, and then it just talks to your PS5. Upon first turning it on, it takes around about 30 seconds if your PlayStation is in standby mode to then remotely turn on your PlayStation and then connect. But if your PlayStation is already on, it only takes 4 to 5 seconds for the Portal to turn on and then connect. The PlayStation Portal, however, does lack Bluetooth support, which is a real shame because the chip used in the PlayStation Portal is apparently a Qualcomm mobile chip, and being a mobile chip, it definitely then supports Bluetooth. Now, they've turned this off because they claim that Bluetooth audio introduces too much latency, but really, they want to sell you their PlayStation Link earbuds or headphones that do work wirelessly with the Portal. Your other alternative is just to use the 3.5mm headphone jack that's at the back, and then I just use some Apple earbuds and they work absolutely fine. But the hardware is not where the PlayStation Portal really shines. It shines in convenience of playing your PlayStation away from the telly. Unlike using an iPad, or you got to download an app or hook up a PlayStation controller to your phone, you don't have to do any of that. This is a built-in single device. Its sole purpose is just to connect to your PlayStation and remotely play games. Simply one device you turn on and game. So what is it like? We're going to cover 3 main topics as we go through this video. How reliable is the PlayStation Portal in staying connected to your PlayStation? What is the gaming experience like? And thirdly, how different is the Portal compared to just using your phone with the Remote Play app and something like a Backbone, which allows a controller to connect it to your phone? So let's start at home. The first thing to say is that your experience will differ depending on your home Wi-Fi setup. The first thing you should do is make sure that your PlayStation is hardwired with an Ethernet cable into your network. Power line adapters, which send Ethernet over your power lines, are an okay option, but they are susceptible to high voltage spikes along your ring main, such as when you put a kettle on or a heater or end up using something that draws a lot of kilowatts. So make sure, if you can, plug your PlayStation in with an Ethernet cable directly into your router. Now, after that, the Portal itself is wireless only. So this will entirely depend on your Wi-Fi setup that you have at home. This isn't a video where we're going to go into Wi-Fi connections, what's the best and how to set that up. If you want to have a video or the breakdown of what I think is best, then drop a comment down below and I can certainly do that. However, the single measurement that most people fail to realize isn't actually signal strength in terms of the bars on your phone that you want to look out for. It's actually the decibel milliseconds that Wi-Fi strength is measured in, or dBm. You can use something like your phone to measure this signal, but essentially anything that is below minus 70 dBm, i.e. minus 80 dBm, is where you're going to start to experience packet loss. So wherever you are gaming in your home, as long as your signal strength is anywhere between minus 20, which is what you're going to get next to the router, and minus 70 dBm or decibel milliseconds, then you're going to have a strong enough connection where you shouldn't experience many dropouts. In my home, I typically use my PlayStation Portal in bed, sat on the sofa while someone uses the TV, or perhaps sat in the kitchen. In all of those areas, my signal strength drops down to a low of minus 68 decibel milliseconds, which is just within the threshold of a good signal. I have experienced the occasional symbol that pops up to say that there is a poor internet connection. I get a quick few drop frames and then I carry on again and there's no problem. The gaming experience is really smooth and it doesn't happen very often. So around the house, particularly in those places, it is a fantastic experience. And I attribute that to a decent Wi-Fi connection around the house and the fact that the PlayStation is hardwired. But what is the device like when you take it outside your home and use it on other internet connections? Well, the first place that I wanted to try was McDonald's, everybody's favorite. So I went down to McDonald's and I sat down, and after I ate my breakfast, I pulled out my Portal and I went to connect to the McDonald's Wi-Fi, and nothing. It fails. It doesn't work. It won't connect. And that's going to be the same in any airport or any sort of Wi-Fi in any public place that requires you to go through a sign-up screen. That is where normally on any device a browser window will pop up and you put in something like your email or your fake email so you can gain access to the network. The PlayStation Portal doesn't have a browser integrated, therefore it cannot connect to these networks. And while that might seem like something that Sony have missed and a bit of an L from Sony, the reason why they do that is internet browsers on these kind of devices is typically a way in for hackers to be able to install custom firmware. They find vulnerabilities in the software and then they can hack the device to put on custom software, allowing you to do all sorts of things with these devices. And because browsers are a typical attack vector, Sony clearly have decided to not include the browser in the Portal. But that is a real shame because then you can't use it on a lot of public Wi-Fi networks. So scrapping that, McDonald's isn't going to work. I decided to try the Portal at work. Now my work Wi-Fi is pretty good. We use actually similar gear that I use at home. I use a lot of Wi-Fi devices in work and at home. And the experience is absolutely fine. We have a guest network at work where you're allowed to connect random things like portals, I guess, if you want. You're not meant to play it obviously while you're working, but played it on my lunch break and the connections was fine. But what you do start to run into is a little bit of lag while playing games. And this is because you're now connecting to your PlayStation Portal over the internet. Now, having two fiber connections at each end, one in my house and one at work, meant that the input lag was minimal, but you might be able to notice it on titles like Call of Duty or anything that requires you to have sort of millisecond precision like shooters or anything online is where you're going to start to sometimes notice these things. It's evidently more noticeable when you go outside and connect to your cellular network. I tethered the Portal off my phone, which had 5G signal. And while I had a good download speed and sort of my 5G signal, the input lag really started to become noticeable because now I'm going over your cellular back to the internet, back to my home. So really things like Overwatch, Call of Duty, they're not really going to be playable. If you're playing competitively, this is not a good idea. But other slower titles like Diablo or Return to Moria or other things that you might like to play are absolutely fine, particularly single player games where really that input lag is noticeable but isn't going to make a meaningful difference to your gaming experience, particularly when you're playing a PlayStation 5 game on the go, sat on a bench in a park, for example. So on to our final point, which is how different is the PlayStation Portal compared to using something like your iPhone with a backbone or an iPad with a DualShock controller connected. And to be honest, the answer depends on you. The actual technology used by the Portal and then also the Remote Play app that you get on mobiles or tablets is exactly the same. To my knowledge, the PlayStation Portal doesn't get any extra capability. There has been a new version 4 update on the PlayStation Portal, which allows you to do cloud streaming if you have a PlayStation Premium subscription, but I haven't actually tried that on mobile to see if that is also the same, so it could very well be. But ultimately, the technology behind the two different things, the app or the Portal, are exactly the same. So the answer to the question is, it depends on you. Yes, the Portal is an extra device that you have to carry around, but it is a device that has one singular purpose with the controllers already connected. You turn it on, you connect to your network, you're gaming. Whereas for me, something like an iPhone, I have to carry my iPhone with me, which is what I do anyway, but then I have to carry a backbone, and then when I want to play, I have to open up the backbone, connect the iPhone, put it together, and then load up the app and carry on, which doesn't seem like an extra step, but the iPhone screen is really small, and I don't want a game on a 6 to 7 inch screen, I want something bigger. So the other alternative is, well, I'll go buy an iPad then, and I can use my DualShock controller with my iPad. And while that would be a bigger screen and give you a very similar experience, it's the same sort of hassle. And if I'm gonna have to carry around an iPad with me, as well as my phone, and a DualShock controller to connect to the iPad, well, to be honest, I might as well just carry a Portal because it's just a one and done solution. The only advantage is to using something like an iPhone or an iPad is you can use your AirPods. Because remember, the PlayStation Portal doesn't support Bluetooth audio unless you're using Sony's proprietary PlayStation Link earbuds or headphones. But on the flip side, you already own a phone, I assume most people do, and a backbone controller for your phone is only about $50 or £50. So it is a far cheaper solution than the $200 or the £200 PlayStation Portal. Therefore, the answer to this question is sort of depending on you. But for me, I love the PlayStation Portal, the pick up and put down nature of it, particularly around the house. People using the TV, or it's a cold winter night, I want to be tucked up in bed with the heated blanket on with a cup of tea, and I can sit in the bed and I can play my Portal all from the comfort of the bed. Therefore for me, is the PlayStation Portal worth it? The answer is yes. Particularly when, now that you can do cloud streaming to the Portal, you could potentially not even own a PS5, buy a Portal, pay the premium cloud subscription feature, and play PlayStation 5 games without a PlayStation 5. Therefore, you don't need a $400, $500, $600 PlayStation to be able to play PlayStation games, which is a nice advantage. If you like this video, then you might like my video on the AirPods Max and if they're worth it. Otherwise, thanks for watching. The like button is underneath the subscribe button, and leave a comment down below on if you think the Portal is worth it. Thanks for watching. Peace.